Hey guys, welcome to episode number 4 of the Viral Nation. In this episode, we're going to talk Supercross H3. What was Dean Wilson thinking? And then also, we're going to talk to Andy Debrino. We're going to talk about our dealer of the week, the Instagram of the week, and much more. So stay tuned for episode number 4 of the Viral Nation.
Wake up at 5 a.m. Gotta be at the track at 10. It's time to ride. All of this anticipation to ride in the Viral Nation.
Hey guys, 3 of these Viral Nations are in the books or on the screen or on YouTube or whatever you want to call it. But we want to again thank you guys for engaging with us, watching the show. I think we've already like 8 or 9 now people that are watching. So it is absolutely awesome that we keep getting people to keep tuning in to the Viral Nation, and hopefully we'll continue to grow. So I want to thank you for that. And don't forget, subscribe right about here, right? Somewhere right down in here. You can like, which is like right here too, somewhere right in there. So please like the podcast or the YouTube video or whatever it is. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And then go ahead and stay up to date with what's happening with Viral Brand. We'll talk a little bit about racing that's going on around the world. The Instagram photo of the week this week, right here, is Nolan Murphy, 311. Was originally from Washington State, moved back east just to go do some racing, and he is our Instagram photo of the week. Right now we're focused on Supercross, and I got some notes here. I've been writing some notes down, but man, what a weekend, right, of racing. Faulkner and Hampshire. Come on, guys. What a bum deal that was, right? The 250 class. You had Craig and Nichols going at it. That was an amazing race. Doe Voland, awesome. He was on my fantasy league. If you guys haven't had a chance to check out MotoX Dream 360, that is the fantasy league that I belong to. A lot of fun. And then, of course, Dean Wilson. The 450 class itself was jam-packed. But, Wilson, man. And then, of course, I really appreciate what he did. We'll talk about that here in a little bit. But before we get to there, let's take a quick break for our first commercial break, and we'll be right back. All right, guys, so last week was round number 3, and we were able to put together the top picks for each round. Unfortunately, there was no winners from last weekend's event, so we're moving into this weekend's event. We are going to be giving away another pair of goggles, so make sure that you head to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our channel. In the comments, make sure that you list your top 3 450 and 250. They have to be in order, and they have to be on our post that we're going to post in the morning of the Supercross this Saturday. You'll see it on YouTube. So post in the comments there, and if you get them correct and you get them right, then you can win free set of goggles. And since no one won last weekend, we're going to be giving away a goggle and a hat. So a goggle and a hat this weekend for round number 4, first round of Indy. So make sure that you get your picks in. Don't forget, if you put your picks in and you win and you're not subscribed to our channel, then we will not be able to send you your goggles. So make sure you subscribe, then do your picks on our YouTube channel. And yeah, it's just that simple and easy. So go do it. All right. So, hey, coming back, don't forget, we're going to be talking to Andy Debrino today. Andy is the 2019 Hooligan Nitro World Champion, also helped us design this amazing logo, an icon, and helped bring Viral Brand up to the new Viral Brand that we are today. We're going to talk to him here in just a second. But before we talk to Andy, let's talk a little bit about Supercross. Holy cow, man. Let's start in the 250 class first. The 250 class was awesome. And, unfortunately, it started out pretty rough with, Hampshire getting hurt. And, of course, the big endo from Faulkner, who looks like he broke his collarbone. And he was out for the series, basically the series. I mean, it's so short, right? So Faulkner's gone. That opens the door to Christian Craig, Nichols, and Mosman, and Jet Lawrence. Of course, Jet had a big get-off in practice. And, coming off that win from the weekend before, or the Tuesday before, very, very interesting to watch that 250 class. And I'll be honest with you, I watched that thing and I was really pulling for Christian Craig. I like Christian, known as Dad. So in 1987, when I got my Yamaha factory ride, the guy that they hooked me up with to be kind of buddies with and walk around the track and stuff with Christian was Mike Craig, which is Christian's dad. So, unfortunately, I shit the bed and never really went any farther than that. And Mike went on to be, what Mike was, and now he's got his kid in there, right? So I like watching that. So it was pretty cool to watch Christian, and he's just riding so well. And, but man, Nichols, not only did Nichols not let him get away, he kept the pressure on him the entire time. And then, of course, he used the lappers to his advantage. Christian was fading a little bit, which that's a lot. That's a lot of laps that are doing each and every round. But Nichols really just kept the pressure on and just put in a great ride. And even though Christian rebounded pretty quickly, got back into the lead, shortly, Nichols didn't phase him, and he ended up obviously taking the win. The Jet Lawrence Mosman thing was pretty awesome. I like Mosman. I think he's awesome. His brother's been nothing but great to us at motocross action. But man, that was a hit, right? Jet Lawrence was just like, I'm not waiting around any longer, and he went and made his pass, made it a little aggressively. And I'll be honest with you, I love it. Motocross to me, or Supercross in this day and age, is very watered down, right? And part of the appeal to motocross and Supercross is the fact that you can, it's that hard riding, that getting into each other. I said in the last podcast, I don't want to see any stuffing, right? I don't want to see any real T-boning and that kind of stuff. Go back to Johnny O'Mara and Mark Barnett in the 80s, right? You go back to Emig and some of the stuff that he pulled on the track back in the day. You had One Punch, Tyler Evans. And the sport's just littered with guys that were super aggressive. But in the 90s, man, guys were getting into each other all the time. And it was super cool to watch. And I grew up in that era, right? I liked being physical. And, I don't know how other people perceive me that raced against me. But in my mind, if somebody bumped me, then I would hit them back twice as hard to make them think about bumping me the next time around. That was just my mentality. And so, seeing these guys today moving over and in the middle of a race, I'm not talking about getting lapped, that's a whole different story, right? But if you're in the race and you're racing with a guy and you're battling for position and you just kind of, move out of the way because you think he's faster than you, man, that's not really racing, right? And so I like seeing those guys battle. You don't always have to be the fastest guy on any day to win. You have to be the guy that can make it to the finish line first. And sometimes that's being smart. Sometimes that's being fast. Sometimes that's being aggressive. Coop's the king of that right now. He has burnt Roxon on the last lap so many times in the last couple years. If I was Kenny, I'd be losing my mind. I probably would have just drove into the side of Webb just because I was so frustrated. But anyways, that's a whole other story. And then the whole AMA thing, starting to find guys for that. I hate that. I just hate that. Let's talk a little bit about the 450 class. The 250 class was awesome. Ended up, having some great motos. To finish up really quick on 250 class, obviously Nichols take the win, Craig second, Lawrence third, Moselman fourth. Great rides. Volan, man, up front. That was awesome. So great 250 action. As I said, I wasn't super excited at the beginning of the 250 class, but have gotten much more excited as the season has gone on. 450 class, though, wow. So many ups and downs, right? Fernandez, oh my God, way in the back of the pack, right? The guy is smoking fast, and yet still, that class is so stacked that you have a guy that gets second last week's race, comes around this week and he gets what, 14, 13, 12? I forget the exact results, but I mean, crazy, right? Yeah, he had some issues and he fell down a little bit, but man, just crazy. And then of course, Roxon came out swinging. Coop looked great. And again, as I said, he just burnt Roxon again, even though he got some help from Wilson, which was unintentional. As much as I saw on the internet how many people thought that Wilson was getting extra points and a bonus check from Webb, that really wasn't the case, right? I think Wilson really just got into the moment, was focused in front of him, and didn't get a chance to really think about the guys lapping up to 11th place. As much as you want to be mad at Wilson, you got to remember that guy's in 11th place, right? He's just outside the top 10, and he is working his butt off trying to keep moving forward. He was in his race, even though the race behind him had caught him, and he was just basically trying to keep his position. Granted, there are blue flags. You need to be aware, and he has admitted as much that he had screwed up. His Instagram post was pretty awesome. He took it like a man. Basically said, "Hey, look, I screwed up. It is what it is." He knows he's going to get crucified on social media. But the best thing about social media? We love all this social stuff, right? If you're really having a bad day, you just turn your phone off and all that social media crap goes away. And you go back to work, get on your bike, and keep riding for the next weekend. And I know that's what Wilson's going to do. So cheers to Wilson. Good job, buddy, for owning up to your mistake. And Roxon, man, I just feel for you, dude. You have gotten burned at the last lap a few times, not just this season, but last season as well. So I really want to see Kenny do some winning because I really like Kenny. But I do like seeing Coop back too because that really shows you how deep this field is. Any one of these guys can win. And of course, Tomac, he kind of clawed his way back in a little bit, but just good racing all the way around the 450 class. So Supercross 2021 is living up to its hype. I think it is a great season. So let's talk a little bit about our guest today. We got Andy Debrino coming up. He will be up next. Right after this commercial, we will talk to Andy and learn a little bit more about him and all the great stuff that goes along with Andy Debrino. All right, so coming up next, we got Andy. Andy is the 2019 Nitro World Champion hooligan racer, and he also helped us design the Viral Brand logo and icon. So let's go hop into our interview. We interviewed him on Monday and got this out of the way. So let's pop over to our interview and hear a little bit from Andy Debrino. All right, guys. Hey, we are here today with Andy Debrino out of Tualatin, Oregon. Did I say that right?
That's Tualatin.
Tualatin. Okay. Being from the Northwest, you think I would have had it figured out already. But hey, we got Andy here. Andy, how you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Just hanging out.
Ah, very cool. So first off, we started working together about a year ago. You started helping out a little bit with here in Viral Brand. But before we get to that, tell us a little bit about how Andy Debrino became to be a motorcycle racer. I mean, that's I think everybody wants to be a motorcycle racer at one point. So how did you end up making it a living?
Yeah, it was tough. But yeah, I started riding dirt bikes. I think I got one when I was like almost 4 years old. Got PW50. Kind of started out the same way a lot of racers do, racing PV class, and I just grew up racing motocross. My dad had done it before me, so he got me into it, and just grew up racing Thursday night motocross at PIR. And at some point when I was like 12 years old, like just about to turn 13, a friend of ours gave us some Supermoto tires and said, "Hey, you guys got to go try Supermoto." So then I tried Supermoto, which led to road racing, which led to flat track. So like, yeah, it's just kind of been like nothing's been kind of on purpose. Everything's just kind of happened naturally as far as like the types of riding I've gotten into. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything. It's been really fun, and yeah, at some point when I was a teenager, probably like 17 years old, like I was road racing and starting to get pretty good, and started to think like, hey, maybe I can kind of do this for a career. I was really into motocross. Like motocross has always kind of been probably my favorite thing to do. Um, Probably just because it's always fun. Like, but by the time I realized like, hey, I want to be like a professional, it was like kind of too late to go the motocross route. Like all the kids I grew up racing, they're already like racing Supercross or doing nationals, and I was better at the road racing and flat track stuff. So I just went that route. Like for me, racing any type of motorcycle is fun. So whatever I got to do to make a living doing it, I don't mind if it's flat track or road racing. I just kind of go where the opportunity is, and it's worked out pretty well for me so far.
So being on two wheels doesn't matter what kind of two wheels. That's pretty, it's pretty cool if you think about it. Most kids get into one sport, whether it's baseball or it's football or it's whatever. There's very few people who are kind of the Michael Jordans of motorcycle riding, right? Which I shouldn't say Michael Jordan. I guess it would be I forget the guy's name now, but he Bo back in the day when I'm dating myself. But Bo knows everything, and Bo played baseball and he played football and he did all this stuff. You're kind of the same type of guy in on two wheels, and now you've also gone into four wheels as well. So you kind of got the motorsport thing kind of well handled. So let's talk a little bit about your 2019 World Championship, because you actually were a World Championship in the hooligan division. Tell us how that kind of happened.
Yeah, well, it goes back like a couple years. So like the whole hooligan flat track stuff, it started out as like guys riding their street bikes to flat tracks and racing them. So these are like inappropriate bikes. They're not meant to race. They're street legal. And it started out like legit people just take street legal bikes, take them to the track, and it was kind of a sideshow. And then it formed to like people taking these bikes, putting the 19-inch flat track wheels on them, making a few modifications. And then it escalated into like just purpose built race bikes. So it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of like the pit bike fad, like how it started out as like people racing stock bikes, and then it just exploded and got like completely out of control with modifications. And so yeah, the very first year, Roland Sands Design, he was like the promoter. He started the Super Hooligan National Championship. I won that championship by a single point over Joe Kopp out of Spokane, Washington, who's like an ex-Grand National champion, one of the best flat trackers ever. So that was like kind of like what got me going. And a local sponsor, CC Motorcycles, they had a Harley Davidson that was all set up, and they're just like, "Hey, Andy, go race this thing." And off I went. So then I raced the next year, won the championship again. And then in 2019, I won Nitro World Games, which was pretty cool for, the hooligan flat track stuff to be part of that event. And the year before I did X Games, which was really fun. So yeah, it was kind of cool how like that sport of motorcycle racing kind of blew up. And then unfortunately with, the pandemic, like last year's series got canceled. So I don't know what's going on for this year. Hopefully there'll be a series.
Yeah, I hope so. So let's talk a little bit about the Nitro games, or actually more of that part of it. You're there with a bunch of the skateboarder guys and all that stuff, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, Nitro World Games had the freestyle like best trick. It had the quarter pipe high air. It had rallycross, and I think there was maybe like a BMX event or so. There wasn't skateboarding at this particular Nitro World Games, but there was like 4 or 5 events. Like it was pretty much all like motorsports based.
Okay, and was that the one that Pastrana showed up at as well? Was he at that one?
Yeah, Pastrana was there. Raha, McNeil, like a bunch of Nitro guys were there. Plus, the typical suspects in the Super Hooligan series. Plus guys like Danny Eslick, who's a multi-time Daytona 200 winner.
Okay.
We had Stevie Bonzi, who used to race in MotoGP. So it was like just guys from all aspects were there. Really
just stacked. Yeah, just stacked. Yeah, super cool.
That one was fun. Like they had super pole qualifying, which is like basically you get 2 or 3 laps to the track by yourself, and you just try to set the fastest lap time possible. So they start the lineup based off the lap time. So I went out. I was the very last guy. I was supposed to be the very last guy to go out. The last guy to go out was Pastrana. So anyway, I was the second to last guy to go out. I set the pole position. And as I'm coming back into the pit lane, Pastrana's hopped on his bike and he's riding down the pit lane, gives me the thumbs up and like heads on the track. And I was just like, wow, this is like really cool to be out there with him. I mean, I've raced with him before at Daytona, but to be at his event and then like have that moment, that was pretty sweet.
That is pretty cool. And have you got a chance to know him or get to meet him a little bit then on and off?
Oh, for years, yeah. Like I used to meet him every year when he'd come out and do Rally America at PIR in the springtime.
Okay.
He'd be hanging out like Thursday at motocross, so like he almost knew me by name after I like met him every year. And then just the industry's so small, like even though he's like such a big time guy, like he's just a really down to earth guy, and it's a small industry. So
it is. Well, let's put it this way. So I knew Travis when he was 14. Now he probably doesn't remember my name, right? But when he was like 14 years old, Kenny Bartram, who actually works for Viral Brand now, raced for Guy Cooper's Supercross team, and Travis would come to the pits with me. He'd be hanging out in the pits with Kenny, and he would help me change back plates on the HRP chest protectors back in the day, right? So, and then of course he's Super Travis now, right? Which is pretty cool. So fast forward to that. So you kind of did the Super Hooligan thing. Obviously, 2020 we all know has kind of been a huge shit show, right? So we're now kind of you kind of find other ways to kind of do things. You came out with a super cool video called Hooliganian. How do you say that again? Hooligana. I even asked him before.
Gymkhana and then Hooligan like merged the names together.
I even asked before the show how to say it, and I couldn't get it right. But regardless of whether I can say it or not, it's super cool, right? So tell us a little bit about that. I mean, we showed a little clip on last week's show. And so kind of run us through how this concept came out to build this. I mean, it is a really cool video.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've always been a fan of Gymkhana, which is Ken Block's video series. And then recently they just released one of Travis Pastrana. That was pretty cool. Him shredding his hometown. So, I mean, in general, like growing up, I've always been like a huge Pastrana fan. So like seeing him get in a rally and stuff like that was really cool. And then yeah, like I said, Ken Block's a big inspiration. So like I've always wanted to kind of do that type of video on a motorcycle, but just never really got around to it. And then when the pandemic started and races started canceling and whatnot, like my flat track, hooligan bike had just been sitting idle. And I was actually at my local go-kart track riding supermoto, and I hadn't been out there in years. So yeah, what happened was that the track owner, Pat's Acres, accidentally double booked me and a few buddies that were like doing a private practice day, double booked us with these drift guys. So that's kind of how I got exposed to it. Like I got to do some ride-alongs with this guy, Chelsea Denofa, who got second in the Formula Drift Pro Championship this year. He drives for Ford and Monster Energy. So he's like one of the best guys in the world. So kind of a cool local resource. I kind of got exposed to drifting and got to kind of ask like, hey, how do you get into this? How much is it? And it's actually like, doesn't matter what sport you're doing. There's like different levels of like, how much you can get into it. Like there's grassroots levels. So like it was actually pretty cheap, like to get into it. Obviously, the more you get into it, the better you get. Like expenses can go up, but it's just kind of like motocross. Like you can go find a cheap motocross bike for like 3 or 4 grand, go out to the races, and same thing with the drifting. You can find a basic car for like 3 or 4 grand. You know, nothing fancy, and get out to the track and start it. So anyway, that's kind of like once I started drifting and I got my own car, I was like, man, like I got my bike here, I could probably drift this thing too, and because I've done that stuff before. So yeah, once that happened, I was like, I should just combine both of these elements together into one video because I've never seen that done before. I mean, I've seen videos where there's one guy drifting the bike and one guy driving a car, but I've never seen a video where one guy drives the car and rides the bike.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it was the perfect time, you know, there wasn't much going on, so I was able to kind of make it happen. And yeah, just wanted to do something to promote my sponsors, and it was fun for me. Like racing's fun, but honestly, making videos like that's my favorite thing. I love doing that. So the goal is to like make this a series going forward, get more support, build new bikes, build new cars, and I got a few things in the works for this year. So so far it's looking pretty good. I think the first video was good, but like I have a lot of ambition to make it like 10 times better.
Oh yeah. Oh, trust me. I know. I feel you. Every time I do one of these podcast things or whatever I'm doing, I look at it and go, man, I could have done things so much better. And
Yeah,
you know,
that was a tough deal because I like did everything. Like I scouted location. You know, I did all the planning, the shot planning, the hiring the film crew, and then like my half of my film crew bailed on me like 2 days before the shoot because they got hired to do a Drake music video for like way more money. So like
right.
I had 2 days to find drone pilots and stuff, and yeah, I'm like the guy on the ground like telling everyone what to do, but I'm also the guy in the video. So that was really difficult, like trying to orchestrate this entire project on my own. Kind of like I had probably 5 or 6 people there each day we were shooting. We shot over 3 days, but yeah, it's a lot of stress being the guy that like had to set up the course. Like I'm the only guy, like I have the vision, so I can't
Right.
hey dude, like go do this, like because it's not gonna get done the way I want it. Like maybe the next one there'll be more time to plan and have somebody to handle that for me. But yeah, I was like doing everything. It was really stressful, but it was so much fun and super rewarding.
Well, the concept came out really cool. I love the video game feel to it, where you drop into the game, and and the start of it from a guy that rides quite a bit. I road raced a little bit, not much, but I road raced a little bit. I flat tracked a lot, and I motocrossed. You come out originally. I don't want to give the whole video away. If you guys haven't watched it, go check it out. But you start out your normal flat track, and you do this little jump thing on the track, on the street track, right? And I thought, oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so it's so funny because I had so many people comment on YouTube like, oh, like you jumped a little curb, like they were talking crap and all this stuff.
Oh, that's a big deal.
Use what I had. Like,
Yeah.
that wasn't even planned. That was actually the go-kart track at the Ridge.
Okay.
That was like through this like chicane up a hill, and there was a curb, and I just like cut the chicane by jumping the curb, and it would look kind of cool, but yeah, for sure, it's not a huge jump, right? It's not.
But what
but
was funny about that was, as I watched it, I thought, oh, that is super cool. But at the beginning of it, I was like, oh, it's just, he's just kind of drifting. And then you got into doing the tight stuff and the feet up slides, and dude, it was epic. I was hanging out at a dealership during COVID. We had a bunch of problems with inventory here at Viral Brand during the summer, and so we had that playing at the dealership when it dropped. I had it on 4 TVs, and everyone in the dealership just stopped and watched the entire video. It was a lot of fun. It was super cool.
Yeah, it's cool you mentioned the feet up thing. That was like for sure one of the things I really wanted to do differently from like other videos that you see online. Like you see a lot of these stunt guys that have like motocross helmets with no visors and their feet are down. Like they look kind of goony to me. So I was like, man, like it's way harder to do it with your feet up. And I think it looks way cooler if you can do it that way too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it came out pretty good. Like I was using my flat track bike, which is designed to be riding on dirt. So like this thing was kind of tough to ride on the asphalt because it had crazy traction. Like I had to do a lot to calm the thing down and keep it from wanting to just hook up and wheelie. Like I had to do a little bit of testing beforehand. So maybe this year I'll have a purpose built bike. But yeah, like I had a concept for what the video would be, but in the end, it was actually a lot different. And there's a lot of things that we came up with on the fly that just worked out way better. Like the part where I'm like drifting around my buddy on a scooter as he's riding, like
Yeah.
that we kind of pulled that from the Gymkhana stuff. Like there's usually a guy on a Segway and they're going like way slower. So like obviously it was a lot harder doing it on a bike and getting a couple rotations around. And yeah, it worked out pretty good. I didn't hit the guy at all, but yeah, I'm pretty pumped on it. Like I'm just trying to think of ways to make it better, and you know, who knows? Maybe next one I'll like incorporate like a third aspect into it and hit some big jumps or something too. So
Oh, that would be super cool. That'd be super cool. Well, hey man, that is that video series. I know that we really enjoyed it here at Viral Brand. You know, obviously being a little bit a part of that was kind of cool, and then as far as just the footage and the cinematography was really cool in it too. So again, if you guys have not had a chance to check out that video, guys, head over to Andy's. Where can they find that video, Andy?
yeah, just go on YouTube and just type in Andy Debrino. It's on my channel. Or if you can figure out how to spell Hooligana, go ahead. It's HOOLIGHANA. Or you can just go to my Instagram page and click the link in my bio, and it'll take you right there.
Perfect. And we're going to have a link in our bio here as well today. So let's talk a little bit about Viral Brand. We met about a year ago, right about the start of the COVID. Actually, is when you and I kind of got a chance to meet. And Viral Brand was in this kind of weird spot where our 2020 stuff didn't ship, and so we had stopped our orders over there and decided to do things a lot differently on this side of the water, and wanted to reinvent the brand and kind of tell us, we love the new icon, the new icon, the new verbiage, all that. What was kind of your inspiration? I know that you and I had a lot of conversations about it, but what was your inspiration?
Yeah, it was like I said, it was, or maybe they didn't mention earlier, but it was a cool opportunity to kind of get connected with Viral, and yeah, for me it was like fun because like I'm kind of into design. Like I've never done it as like a real job, but like I do a lot of my own design for my bikes and graphics, and I've done logo work before. So for me, I was kind of looking for a new goggle sponsor at the time, and the opportunity to kind of rebrand Viral was super fun. And yeah, for sure, just a lot of conversations that we had together, plus kind of putting my own twist to it. Like I wanted something that was sharp and stylish, and like that people wanted to wear, like a logo that that looked cool, but again, working kind of by your vision too. So kind of combining the two together, and it was a process. I think we went through. I must have drew like, I don't know, 10 or 15 different emblems, and then the texts were like, I did dozens of texts, completely custom. These aren't texts that you go online and to some font website and put Viral into, and then you pop up and save it and put it into your computer. Like this text was hand done by me. There's nothing like it. There's stuff that might look close to it, but like that was the first time I've really made a custom font and made it completely unique. So that was the challenge, when you're making a font, you want everything to be symmetrical. You want the width to be all the same. Like you want it to be legit. You don't want like the A to be way fatter than the L, and it looks awkward that way. So yeah, it was tough to make it all perfect, and I'm pretty happy with it. I think the emblem's pretty cool, and if it's upside down, like it doesn't really matter which orientation it is. Like it looks the same. So
Yeah, absolutely. And and you had to deal with me, which is never an easy task, right? Because I don't, I know what I want, but I don't have any idea what I want at the same time, right? But it really worked really well. We had played around. We had a biohazard in the beginning, and unfortunately, the idea that was pretty cool for about 12 seconds when I started the company, and then I hated it for the entire time we've had the company. I really like the new icon. So I want to thank you personally, and I know we've talked to you before, but I want to thank you personally for the hard work that you put into it. The boxes look better, the straps look better, and then we also did some fun with you. We actually built you your own custom goggle. So tell us a little bit about the Debrino goggle, and it's kind of a funny deal, but what's up with that?
yeah, well, for sure. Yeah, I appreciate the support and everything, and yeah, the opportunity to have my own goggle really cool too. But yeah, the Debrino thing comes from like I got a pet zebra. We've had for about 3 years now, I think.
How does somebody end up with a zebra in Oregon?
Pretty easy. I mean, they're legal to own. You don't have to have some special permit, and you just got to go online and find a breeder and pay them some money. So, yeah, my mom, she has horses and shows horses, and she has a barn stable, and we got plenty of horses. We have a miniature horse, we have a miniature donkey, and then we have the zebra. So, yeah, she'd been talking about getting one forever, and I was very encouraging of it because I'm like, that would be cool to have one too. But yeah, so it was her deal. She got it, but I've become super attached to the zebra. I moved out last summer to the property next door where my track is, and like I can look out my window right now and see her in the pasture. And it's funny because over the last 4 months, the donkey and the zebra, they know I live over here now, so like they always look out the pasture out at my house, and I'll like open the slide door and say hi, wave at them, or I'll be out there cooking on my Traeger, and they'll be hanging out like looking at me, and yeah, they're super attached to me now.
Very cool. Well, hey man, so let's tell us a little bit about your sponsors, some of the people that have helped you kind of get to where you're at. So anything new happening for 2021, and then we'll kind of wrap this thing up.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's been a crazy last year with the pandemic and a bunch of stuff going on, but yeah, what's new is I just got some new KTMs for Motorsport Hillsboro, so I'm super excited about those. I basically will be on the same dirt bike program as I've been on the last couple of years. I'll have a 350, which I race motocross with and ride motocross tracks on, and then the 450. I was flat tracking that. I'm not really doing so much flat track anymore, so that bike is kind of going to be my free ride bike. So I got really stiff suspension on it right now for hitting freestyle ramps, and I just started going to the dunes. I'm like a new dune goon guy now, so like that's kind of fun. So I don't know. I'm gonna try to do a little bit more free riding this year with the 450, and obviously I'll be racing flat track and doing road racing and all sorts of stuff. And yeah, and I might have another deal kind of coming together, hopefully, to get a couple more KTMs. So we'll see if that happens. So yeah, that's kind of new. And then yeah, I got to thank Viral, and then Motul has been a huge supporter this past year. They were a new sponsor last year, and they were a big reason why Hooligana happened, and I had the support to make that happen. And they're back on board this year, bigger and better. So yeah, those are the three companies, you guys, Motorsport Hillsboro and Motul, and then of course my local sponsor, Oregon Motorcycle Tourney. Those guys are really helping me make it happen. And ODI Grips, all my other supporting sponsors for sure. There's a lot. I should have my little list to read out. So,
well, hey, if people want
a lot of stuff for next year.
If people want to find you online, Instagram, follow you, your YouTube channel, how can they find you?
Yeah, me at Instagram, YouTube, it's just Andy Debrino, and then I have a Facebook page, Andy Debrino Racing, and then I have a website, debrinoracing.com.
Perfect. Well, Andy, hey man, thanks a lot for the time today. I do really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, appreciate it.
All right, have a good one.
You too.
Hey, again, thank you, Andy. We really appreciate you coming on the show and talking to us a little bit about yourself and about Viral Brand and all the great things that you've helped us with, along with the drifting and the hooligan. I still can't say it, man. Sorry about that. And all the great stuff that you got going on in the future. So this week we have the goggle of the week is going to be the Debrino goggle. This is the goggle that Andy helped us design. It talks about his. It has got the zebra stripes from his zebra, the pet zebra he has on there. It is a white frame, outriggers, 50 millimeter strap, 4 layers of foam, right, with this killer Debrino logo on the side, and then of course Andy's number and his zebra right there on the goggle itself. So that is our goggle of the week, is the Debrino goggle. We are going to talk of the dealer of the week. That is Tread and Track Motorsports down in Oregon. Congratulations to them. They have got a full stock of inventory down there. You can check them out right here and give them a call and get your goggles. They can Head on inside. You can pick them up. Talk to the dealer of the week, Tread and Track. That is Tread and Track Motorsports down in Oregon. We're going to talk about tear-offs. But before we get into that, I really want to talk to you a little bit about Viral Brand and what Viral Brand is doing now in the United States. So one of the things that we've been working really hard on in 2020 and 2021 is we now assemble all of our goggles here in the United States. So we also have been sourcing most of our product, trying to start sourcing it here in the United States as well. As an American company, we designed this goggle in America. We wanted to bring this goggle in. We have done some changes to the original design that was all done here in America. And now we are actually bringing in bits and pieces and assembling. But our tear-offs are also being made right here in the United States as well. We have two sets of tear-offs. We've got our 10-pack and we have our 20-pack. And I want to talk a little bit about putting tear-offs on the goggle itself. So when you have your goggle, you got your tear-off pins, you have your pin here, which is where your tear-off goes on. And we want to talk real quickly about how to put those on. It's pretty simple. You're gonna pull out a couple sets of tear-off, a couple sets. We have a piece of paper in between there to keep these so they're perfectly clear, okay, and perfectly clean. And what I always suggest is you take, let's say you're gonna put 1 or 2 or 3 on. We're going to start with just 2 for this demonstration. And we're going to put them on. And we start on the right-hand side, or the left-hand side, sorry, the side away from the main tear-off pin, okay? And we're going to stick those on just like this. We're going to put on the first one and then the second one. We want to make sure that we're trying to keep our hands off the tear-offs as much as possible so we're not getting fingerprints on them. Once you have it on this side, we're going to bring it around and we're going to get it onto this side and make sure that it's locked down here. Once we've done that, we're going to take your first tear-off and we're going to attach that first tear-off to that tear-off pin right here, just like that. And boom, easier said when you're not on camera. Flip that thing over. So we're going to flip that first tear-off over like this, and then we're going to attach the next one. And then what I have done, and I've done this forever, is I then take this the first loop on the back side and I push it as far forward as I can, and then I crease it. Right? I crease that over like that. And if you can see that, probably gonna be a little hard to see, but I crease that over. And then I take the next one and I crease it as well. And the reason I crease it is so that tear-off is gonna stick out. Let's see if I can find a way to make that a little more seeable. But you can see that tear-off now sticks out to the side. Even though the wind's gonna bring it back, it does keep it out there. It makes it a little bit easier for you to grab. That is a great tip. And I do that when you put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it doesn't matter. That last tear-off has always got that crease. Now, once you crease all of them, they all have that crease and they all stick out to the side. It makes it easier for you to grab one instead of grabbing all. Also, when you take that loop and push that loop in all the way as far as you can, it also makes it easier to grab one and not grab all of your tear-offs. I'm sure those who have raced for a while have done that. They'll reach up to grab one tear-off, they grab them all, and you hear this brrr, right? And all your tear-offs are gone, and you still have 5 or 6 more laps of your race left. This is the easiest way to do it. We have great clarity in these tear-offs. They are super thin. They are super clear, and you can stack up to 5, 6, 7 tear-offs on there without a problem, with great visibility, great clarity, and allow you to race your moto and have clear vision all the way to the finish. That is our goggle tip of the week, and we want to thank you guys again for being part of the Viral Brand. We did not have a quick hit this week, but if you are interested in being part of the Viral Brand quick hit, just send your video in and contact us first. We will send you a quick questionnaire. You can then film yourself, send it in to us, and we will feature you in the next episode of the Viral Nation. Guys, thank you again for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe right here. Like right here as well, somewhere right here. Like our comment, like this video. Subscribe to our channel. The more subscribers we have, the better this is. So now we've got 8 or 9. If we can get to 12 or 13, we'll really be doing well. And I want to thank you again for taking the time to listen to this week's episode of the Viral Nation, episode number 4. And coming up next week, we are going to be we're going to see Kenny Bartram. He will be on board with us as our interview of the week. Kenny Bartram is Cowboy Kenny from the Nitro Circus and the Steel Rodeo Tour. We have the Instagram photo of the week. We have Dealer of the Week. We've got our Goggle of the Week and much more. So stay tuned. Get yourself subscribed. And we will see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat station. Thank you.